Hey folks, Reloading Bench back with you once again. We're going to do a little bit of reloading today, but it's a different kind of reloading. This is going to be a different powder. This is espresso powder instead of smokeless powder. And I have upped my espresso game. A number of years ago, I used to do espresso in the mornings, and I would do all the sweetener stuff, the syrups, and it would just be delicious. And then when I was diagnosed with diabetes, I switched over to protein drinks in the morning from Costco. A lot of different flavors. This one's caramel, delicious with coffee / espresso. They have a latte flavor, pumpkin spice flavor, a vanilla flavor. They even have a chocolate. And I might be missing some, but the caramel's pretty good. And we have some caramel and vanilla at the moment. But I'm not going to be making a protein drink. This is my breakfast with a double shot of espresso, but since it's not breakfast time, we're going to go after a little holiday treat and do not an eggnog latte, but I'll just call it an eggnog espresso, because in the mornings I don't froth this milk, or this, I don't even know if I call it milk, this liquid. So instead I heat it, and then I do my double shot, and then I'm good for the morning. So today I'm going to walk you through what I do for making hopefully a decent espresso shot, and it's very similar to reloading in terms of getting things right, pressure, weight, taste, not too sour, not too bitter, trying to get it right in that sweet spot. So I've gone off the deep end. I'll probably insert my old espresso machine in a video snapshot right about here. All right, as promised, I'm inserting this in between what you're now hearing. So this was my Cuisinart that I've probably had maybe 12 years. So this is done great for us, but it's very basic in terms of you get water or you get frothing, and there's an on and off. So you don't know what's happening with pressure. No grinder. I wanted a grinder internally. For personal reasons. Decent machine. I mean, you'll still see them online, new in box, old stock, for I think $200-300 or lower, depending on the condition if they're used. But absolutely nothing wrong with this. Just not as feature rich as the Breville. So as I said, upping our game, and this one is going into retirement. And again, decided this fall for the holiday season to go ahead and look at going down a different path and essentially upping our game. So I am going to grind some beans, weigh them out. I don't know if you can actually see that, so let me change the angle. I'm going to do this real time, hopefully without any editing necessary, and you can see my fubars. Feel free to comment if you don't agree or suggest or anything in between, kind of like my reloading crowd, but this video may not appeal. So there's about 1846, and the reason I'm going to go over 18 grains, there's reloading, 18 grams for this particular I was going to say load. This particular cup is the hopper, the grinder in the Breville. This bad boy isn't a zero. I think it's called a zero grinder. So you'll have, if you put in 18 grains, you're not getting out 18 grains, because there'll be a couple grains that are stuck in here. Grams again. Sorry, the grains. The grains is embedded. Couple grams, just due to the nature of the beast. Again, because it's not a zero grinder, so you're gonna have some leftover in there, and that's where the scale comes in, because kind of like reloading, I found espresso making is kind of dialing in to your particular sweet spot. So when I first started with this machine, a double shot, it was all over the place. So some guy 3D printed these online, and it's been a godsend, because that just takes care of a big mess. But I usually weigh this and zero out. So I've got my grams going there. I'll let that churn. Again, I don't keep I don't keep beans in the hopper for freshness. Tend to keep them in other storage devices. All right, so as you can see, that's just a mess if that was not encapsulated and contained herein. So very easy to work with this and not get it all over the place because espresso making can be a mess. And as I said, I don't know if you can read that, but that's 18.61 grams. So I will take a spoon and start. That's 1788. I'm going to try and come in right around 18. That's 1836. 1803. Good enough. So there's 18 grams of ground espresso. I've got a little card. The Breville comes with a metal, I forget what it's called, a blade, and that's great, but I want something a little more lightweight that gives me some areas to bend. And normally, because I'm doing this in front of the camera, I would normally do this over here. In fact, that's what I'll do, over my little knock box, because I found that's a great way to avoid mess. And love the distribution tool, the double-sided. So I've got a distribution on one side, and then for tamping, and I've got that measured to the same, you know, I don't care about the whole 30-pound shit. Consistency is a key, and there's where mine is at. So and again, with the camera in the way, I feel retarded. So this is a bottomless basket, and I've got my 18 grams in there, and hopefully the magic, which you will see when my pressure, I'm shooting for something around 11 o'clock pressure wise, and I'll also time it, so I'm shooting for right around 25 seconds ish, but before I do that, I'm going to heat my eggnog. So when I get up in the mornings, I'll come down and I'll turn the machine on. So the machine's been on maybe 10-15 minutes. I'm not a real stickler for that. I know other people are. I know some people will throw water through the system because they want to clean everything out, heat up the group head, heat up the portafilter, yada yada yada. So I tend not to do that. A little too much work, and hopefully this will not go all over the place. So you won't be able to see the timer. Maybe I'll start it here. And I'm going to start the timing right when I see the very first drop. Normally I would just do this right into the cup of eggnog, but for the sake of completeness, and I've got this programmed to 2 ounces of water, roughly 36 grams. So here goes. Probably missed it maybe by a second. So my pressure, about 11 o'clock-ish. Went from a dark stream to now the crema, and it should turn almost blonde. And this is the only downside, the channeling that does occur. And that's probably my wonderful tamping. That was 28 seconds. So we've got 28 seconds. We've got pressure at roughly 11 o'clock. We've got 2 ounces of what looks like a very beautiful shot there, as and these are not the newest coffee beans either. So we've got another batch ready, and I will, let's see what this tastes like. You won't be able to see my facial expression off camera. So that is a very smooth espresso. All right, let me grab my now perfectly warmed eggnog. Maybe some of you would prefer to froth it. For me, I'm just going to pour and stir. And then clean up my mess. So this is a delicious looking, delicious smelling. Oh, and that's the perfect afternoon treat. Now I will clean up a little bit of my mess. I picked up the bar mats, very similar to what I have, which you can't see, so I'll show you. Picked up the bar mats because they're great for tamping or doing anything else on the counter or spilling. They clean up very, very easily, and were well worth the $5 or $6 that they cost, because I've got shit everywhere. I usually put a container underneath the Breville just to catch the grounds, the loose grounds. We'll see how wonderful the puck looks. Good looking puck. Love the mini knockbox. One tap, it's gone. I have everything near the sink. So again, a quick wash and the portafilter is ready to go. And for those who do like to do a cleaning, I'll clean the head, the group head, run some water in it, just for a couple seconds, just to get things out. And that is my routine, essentially. And we're back to square one, and all ready for tomorrow morning. I saw a video, that's good, where a guy had the coolest little setup, because I've tried to figure out how I want to do beans. Again, I was originally starting out with everything in the hopper and then just dealing with dose control of timed release and then shaving it off and whatnot. Then I got down to, well, let's not waste beans and keep them in the hopper, and was doing 18 grain-ish hopper inserts, I guess. And that's worked okay. But I saw this guy that had the coolest, they look like test tubes, big test tubes with corks in them, that he probably put his 2 ounces of beans. And I thought, oh, that's cool. And they're called bean cellars, C-E-L-L-A-R-S, as in a basement. And I followed, he didn't have a link, he just identified what they were in the bottom of his explanation. And I went online and looked at them, and they're $320. And I said, yeah, that's ridiculous for something that gives that little bit of benefit to cost that kind of money. So that's a NFW, no freaking way. Okay, timing is everything. As luck would have it, as I was running around, I heard the Blue Santa show up, and our Rainforest friends dropped this package off. And I'll insert this video in between some of my previous comments so you can compare what path I went down. I was referencing a guy who had this thing called a coffee cellar or bean cellar. Yeah, that's what it was. Bean cellar, C-E-L-L-A-R. And when I went to look it up online and look at the price, I about shit my pants because of the cost. And I'm like, well, that's not happening. So I was finding creative ways of measuring 18 grams out into 2 little things in the morning, and yeah, that's all right. But I was also looking for creative ways of prepping for the morning, and this little extremely inexpensive package of 3 is my solution. And these are airtight 18 grain containers. So let's weigh out. Hopefully, I've been playing with weights, so I'm going to see how close as I was transferring. So I might be slightly off. 1797, so we're going to call that 18 as far as I'm concerned with coffee, because of the little leftover tiny shards that are in here. But my thought was, and these are airtight, they get a little nice O-ring seal on them, stainless steel, nice satin finish. Doesn't necessarily match anything, but it's heavy duty in terms of what I was going to use it for. So having 3 of those cuts out my potential to have to weigh out any measurements in the morning. So by having a canister of grains, there's my 18 grains, there's my double shot in the morning, and I can set a few of those aside. So now that's airtight and sealed away and can be ready for me to pop in the morning. So that's one step eliminated. I can just dump this right into the hopper, grind it up, weigh the output out, and then again, shorten some of the mess when you're half awake in the morning. So thank you to the Rainforest folks. 3 of those, all I'll need. And I think that was like $12. So $12 versus $320 plus tax, shipping, and everything else. So that would come in at like $350. So $12 for stainless steel. Doesn't come in a little wooden thing, which maybe I could make and be cute about it. Maybe I'll use this and repurpose. Who knows? But 12 bucks versus 350. That's a no-brainer. So it doesn't take much to figure that one out. All right, that's it. I will stitch this little. I'm going to call this my coffee cellar, my espresso, my bean cellar, my bean container. I'll stitch that into the other part of the video. It's not happening. So I'll pick up little miscellaneous things for cleaning. I found the best thing for Breville, Breville specifically, and I'm sure it'll fit, it'll work for any espresso maker, because without this particular funnel on top of my portafilter to dose, I'd have coffee grinds everywhere. And I saw this, another guy on YouTube that I've seen a lot of videos for, Hoon, I might be saying his name wrong. He loves this machine. This is probably the first and only video I'll do of this machine, and the only reason I'm doing it is because I think it was so akin to reloading in terms of the measurement, the scale, the weights, the pressure, everything. I thought if you can reload, you can make great espresso. But when you change the grind settings, there's an internal upper burr in this machine that allows you to multiply the 10, I think 15 settings on the side of the machine by a factor of 10. So you've now got 160, 50 different settings depending on the coffee. Every coffee, different grind. But again, with coffee getting everywhere, this thing is a godsend. And you have to clean that burr out, otherwise it won't reseat. So this is like a little $10 USB vacuum that it does wonders. I think this is the greatest espresso accessory ever made for people who are kind of doing their own thing. But I picked up for other beans, experimenting with beans, a dose control, just because once I have for the bean of choice, depending on what I'm drinking, if I've got something I like, it's I wouldn't say it's not difficult to change the grind settings here, but it's easier to experiment on the dose control, move that off to the side than it is to deal with the Barista Express. So that is it. Love the knockbox, the mini knockbox, because it keeps things clean and shit where it should be. So cheers and happy holidays.